Hello everyone, my name is Gaurav. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Nostragamus, India's first prediction-based fantasy sports app. We started our journey something like 2.5 years back, and what we wished to do was to create a fantasy sports app which was meant for the Indian audience. So instead of having to choose, say, an 11-player team, what we asked our users to do was pick from any 15 specific events for a given match because we felt that was more in tune with what the Indian audiences wanted. Who will score more runs today? Who will get more wickets today? Between these two players, who will have a better day? And so on. With this in mind, what this allowed us to do was to quickly expand not only in the traditional fantasy space of, say, cricket and football, but very soon go beyond that into badminton, tennis, kabaddi, hockey, and just to name a few sports. With the idea in mind that we were trying to reach the Indian audiences, we also made our app work in Hindi, and that, along with our presence across Android, iOS, and web, helped us get around 5 million users so far. Very early on, what we realized was, that re-engaging the user is extremely critical in the fantasy space, especially when it's an extremely, extremely crowded market right now. We have some competitors sitting right there. With that in mind, like the question is, what kind of re-engagement you want to do to your users? Well, the user needs to know what is the next upcoming match. He may want to know it one day before. He wants to know when is the toss of the game happening, when is the final squad list out, so that he can go and make his last set of changes for the match. Then again, obviously, when the match results are published, you want to know immediately, very fast, what happened and did you win or did you lose. And finally, obviously, with all of us in the space, you have to promote your app and you have to give more offers, more discounts, more exciting freebies to your users. And you want your user base to know that. That was a strategy, and it worked very well until it didn't. What we realized was happening was a lot of our users, I think somewhere in the range of 55% of our users, were using Chinese OEMs. And of that, I think 30% was Xiaomi specifically. With less ability for us to reach out with relevant information to our users, we could see key statistics of our users declining, KPIs declining, certain numbers falling here and there. And that put our entire retention strategy in a bit of a toss for a bit. That was a problem, a very, very big problem. Something we communicated with MoEngage extremely soon. So one day I was extremely delighted that Yash from MoEngage gave me a call saying, hey, we are trying to do some new pilot program. It's called Push Amp Plus, and we think this will address your problems. So without a doubt, we immediately put a team to work together with MoEngage, and in a matter of a few weeks, we had the first implementation of that out. And after a few bit of tweaks, optimizations, learning early results, and everything around it, the good news started pouring in. What were they? Well, we immediately saw a broad-based increase in our delivery rates across all devices. Not just one, but across all. And these were the main devices which formed something like 75% of our user base. And a 40% increase in this realm was something that was beyond what we had even expected. Not just that, and I think something for us which was more important was once the user installs the app, he will definitely get a notification on that day. But then maybe he stops using your app after 1 or 2 days. What happens then? Well, we are all aware that leads to significant drop in our ability to reach back to the user, especially in the Chinese OEM realm. And even there, what we started observing was for users who were active at least in the last 30 days, there was a significant increase, I think in the range of 50% in delivery rates for all of those guys. Not just that, I mean, look at the numbers for users who have not been even active for 30 days. There itself, we got somewhere like an increase from 12 to 15%. It looks small, but it's extremely big for us, for users who have been inactive for so long. Now, with Push Amp Plus in place, when we specifically look at Xiaomi devices, which is somewhere in the range of 30% of our user base, we saw 75% growth in the amount of deliveries, notifications we could deliver to our users. Once again, in line with the previous chart that we saw, even for users and you have been not active for some time, we could see significant growth in the delivery rates. Somewhere in the range of 45% for users who have been active in the last 30 days. And extremely importantly, for users who have not been active for a month, we could increase it by an astonishing 60%. That was 3x of what we could achieve for other OEMs, which went from something like 12 to 15. For these guys, we could take them from 15 to 24%. Extremely unheard of numbers, and numbers I don't think any of us are anticipating, at least in our team. So all this is extremely good, but finally, what does it lead to at the end of the day in terms of how our business does? As I already explained, we are extremely dependent on having the ability to re-engage our user with timely, relevant messaging for us to increase the ability for the user to come back on our app, view what's there, play matches that he wants to play, and have some fun while doing all this. And across all the metrics that are extremely important to us, we could see incredible amounts of growth on back of Push Amp Plus. When it came to 30-day retention of users, bang, a 25% increase right there for Xiaomi devices, and a 5% for Chinese OEMs at all, which is not bad at all. Then for sessions, the user was doing for a month, a 33% increase in Xiaomi devices once again, and a 16% increase for other Chinese OEMs. We also, in this time frame for the last 2-3 months, we're building a lot of different features in our apps, which we thought would increase per user spend, the amount of money a user spends on an app in any given month. Those features, when backed by the Push Amp Plus technology, allowed us to reach out to the users at the right time, and thereby allow us to grow our average spend per user in a month by nearly 4x for Xiaomi devices and by 2x for other Chinese OEMs. All of this was an extremely useful exercise for us, and we were extremely happy to have been partnered with MoEngage for this. Special thanks to obviously my good friends Ravi, Nalin, and Yash for working so hard to make this pilot project work. And we hope to keep doing some good work in the future around all of this. Thank you.